So a little birdie told me that you're a Tamon's B-side fan. Wait, you're also a Tamon's B-side fan as well? Oh, wait, I'm hearing someone else over here. Are you also a Tamon's B-side fan? Wait, oh, we have another one right here. Oh my god. What the hell? We got so many Tamon's B-side fans now. That's insane. I remember talking about this series a few years ago, even a few months ago. It felt like that one meme of the dude talking to a brick wall. Like those videos were just not getting any traction. But who knew a proper anime adaptation would be enough to actually convince people to read the manga? Everyone knew. Everyone knew, except for the freaking animation studio. But now that we actually have a really good anime series, a series that has really reinvigorated shoujo fan spaces online, like it just feels really good to see a series that you had been recommending finally get the attention that it deserves. And if you find yourself in the boat where you've already read all 10 volumes available in English, then you're probably wondering, is there anything else I can read that's similar to Tamon's B-side? And the answer to that question is yes. Yes, there is. So what are some of the things that make Tamon's B-side special? To me, it's the comedy. I feel like the comedy is something that really stands out in the series. Sometimes it is over the top. It can be a little slapstick as well. And sometimes even a little dry, kind of like Uramichi Onisan, but it has a lot of heart. So that's one of the things that really stands out. The second thing that stands out is obviously we're following J-pop idol culture in this series. So are there any other series that also follow J-pop idol culture? And to go along with J-pop idol culture, I think another thing that Tamon's B-side does really well is showcase different aspects of oshikatsu culture, which is very popular in Japan. So if you're into oshikatsu or want to see other series that portray oshikatsu, that's another thing that I feel like makes the series very special. And as much as we can talk about Tamon, utag is also very important to Tamon's B-side. So are there any other series that portray fanboy, fangirl behavior in a very similar way to Tamon's B-side? The answer to all those questions will be in this video. I will be giving you 5 different recommendations in the shoujosei demographics that are similar to Tamon's B-side in different ways. I will highlight those ways, and hopefully you find a series that you also enjoy, just like this one. Unfortunately, none of the series that I will be talking about have an anime adaptation, so I will be doing manga recommendations, but hopefully these series do become popular enough to eventually get an anime adaptation like Tamon's B-side. That is my one hope. I really want to see more funny shoujosei series being animated. The first title that I want to mention is Fall in Love You False Angels. This is published by Kodansha and it's suitable for teens 13 up. So this series, if you like the B-sides in Tamon's B-side, this one has B-sides for our main protagonists. Both the boy and the girl have wildly different personalities. You're definitely going to get a kick out of the B-sides in this series because not only does our female lead have a very harsh B-side, but so does our male lead. At school, they're the model student. They're very studious, they're serious, but off of school, both Otogi as well as Toki right here are very different. Otogi, our girl, is a potty mouth. She's just someone who doesn't sugarcoat her words. And Toki is a guy who also doesn't sugarcoat his words either. And he has a ton of piercings. He has a buzz cut like underneath his perfectly coiffed hair. Like he's just the polar opposite of how he presents at school. So if one of the things that you liked about Tamon's B-side is that all the idols have a B-side persona, I think you'll enjoy the B-sides in Fall in Love You False Angels. Another thing that this series has in common is our female lead Otogi is somewhat of a fangirl, but instead of fangirling about her favorite idol, she really likes Toki right here. She fangirls about her fellow classmates. And it's honestly very cute to see. Like, this is all her internal dialogue. Like, she starts wondering about what he would think about her and how he feels about her, and she just goes into kind of these fangirl thoughts very similarly to how Utage in Tamon's B-side does. And much like Utage in Tamon's B-side, where she will show how excited she is and how much she loves Tamon, Otogi is very similar. You could definitely see when she's been love struck. And with that being said, the comedy in Fallen Lovey False Angels is pretty similar to Tamon's B-side. It is a little over the top. It's a little drier in this series than it is in Tamon's B-side. Not as slapstick as Tamon's B-side, but both of them are just, kind of awkward teens, just like Tamon and Utage are. So if you like the comedy in Tamon's B-side, I feel like you're going to also like the comedy in Fallen Lovey False Angels. The next story that I want to talk about is the Otaku Love Connection, and this one is a shoujo published by Square Enix. There are 3 volumes out so far, and this one, I feel like I don't hear many people talk about this series, but it is so damn funny. It's so good. I want more people to read this series so bad. Please read it. So let me tell you about this series. So in this series, we see our otakus right here in the corner, and they stan not a fictional character, not a celebrity. They stan their fellow classmates. These are like the ideal couple. And I feel like a lot of people that go to high schools, there's always that one couple. That one couple that's like perfect. Maybe it's the quarterback and the cheerleader. Like, I feel like a lot of us have had that couple at school. Well, they're obsessed with them. These are, as you can see, they're the OTP at school, okay? The one true pairing. They want to root for their relationship, and they're obsessed with those two. Which honestly, if you're a fanboy or fangirl, I know it sounds weird to like be a fan of your fellow classmates, but they do get a lot of fan service. If you want to be a fan of someone and you want instant like gratification, being a fan of someone at school is not too bad of a deal. You probably get fed a ton of fan service. Every single time they hold hands, you can just be like, oh, they're so cute. When they hug, when they gift exchange, like there's a lot of moments that, would be pretty much like a feast to the eyes to an otaku. And as you can see, Wataru cannot stand how cute the perfect couple is. So one of the otakus that you follow in this story, his name is Wataru, and he is, again, a humongous fan of Yusuru and Shihiro. But then we have a fellow fangirl that's also in this mix, and that is this girl right here. Her name is Mashiro. She also happens to ship the perfect couple at school. So these two otakus form an alliance because they share the same OTP. And as you can probably tell from the panels that I have shown, this series is really, really funny. Much like Tamon's B-side, the comedy in this series is very over the top as well. So not only does the comedy lean a little bit more slapstick like Tamon's B-side, but also the facial expressions are very expressive, like Utage in Tamon's B-side. Apart from the comedy leaning more slapstick and over the top in this series, they also do a lot of parodies of shonen tropes, shoujo tropes, and just basic like nerdy things. That's why you get panels with the little like flowers, so this is definitely a shoujo thing. But then you also have like battle action tropes that get parodied as well, which you can tell. This doesn't scare Wataru whatsoever. Last thing, if the slow burn element is something that you enjoy about Tamon's B-side, well, you kind of get a slow burn with this one as well. We have the couple that's already established, but these two, Mashiro really likes Wataru. I will say Wataru is very oblivious about the fact that Mashiro has a humongous crush on him. So it's been taking a pretty long time for them to actually see eye to eye when it comes to their own romance. There hasn't been any confession. They're just both still being really big otakus, but you can tell that Mashiro really wants to try and pursue a romantic relationship with Wataru. Now, will it take as long as Tamon's B-side for these two to actually confess? I don't really know. I'm gonna have to keep on reading to find out. But so far, these two are pretty far away to actually confessing. Let's continue with Lovesick Ellie. Lovesick Ellie! Everybody screamed. Maybe it's just like a few people. This series is also published by Kodansha. It has already wrapped up with 12 volumes. And if you really like Utage's fangirl side, then right here, Ellie, also a high school student, she is a humongous fangirl. Also, not for an idol, but for her for her classmate. For this guy right here. But she kind of takes it to a whole different level. So Ellie, real name Eriko, happens to have a whole Twitter account where she nicknamed herself Lovesick Ellie, and she just tweets away about her crush every single day. And she fantasizes about said crush, who is the popular boy at school. And according to Eriko, she decided to fantasize till she drops, literally. She is absolutely shameless about her fangirling for her crush. And let me read you some of her tweets. We have, I'm secretly dating the most popular boy in my grade. A wink at school is code for I love you. Oh no, he's winking at me at lightning speed. Everyone's gonna find out. And just so you know, that this is page number 1. They're not even dating here. She is just a little bit Delulu. Delulu is the Salulu for Eriko. But Eriko's problem is, although they've been classmates for 3 years, they haven't said a word to one another. And when they finally share a word with one another, she leaves her phone and he finds out about her secret Twitter account where she fantasizes about him. He saw everything. And I will say that the boy, his name is Omi, he definitely has this like suave personality, especially at first. He's kind of like a harihara, where he knows that his influence, like his presence, has an effect on Eriko. So he tells Eriko that if she's able to keep a secret, then he can make her fantasy come reality. And of course, we have Eriko, who's already fangirling to the max. And these two, since they could not be any more different, they're just a really funny pair, especially Eriko, who is just so over the top. And much like Tamon's B-side, this is just so damn funny. It is awkward. She is a bit of a perv as well, which kind of like sometimes surprises Omi, and he's like, wait, did you just really say that? But she's just so shameless. She's not afraid of how cringy she might be. She's not afraid of being perceived negatively because of her fangirling. She just is who she is, very much like Utage. And I really enjoy seeing female protagonists who are a little bit more over the top, that do have niche interests, and who are unapologetic about that. So if you enjoy that about Utage, I think you'll really like Eriko as well. I will say that you won't get that slow burn like in Tamon's B-side, because they do agree to get together. At first, it's not super serious, but they do become a pairing basically in the first volume. So that being said, it will take them a while to fall in love with one another, because at first, Omi is a bit of a tsundere, as you can see. You loser. So that being said, Lovesick Ellie is just funny. It's ridiculous. It doesn't take itself seriously, but it also has a lot of heart, just like Tamon's B-side. And Eriko is one of my favorite high school female leads. Like, she is just so unapologetic about her fantasies and her fangirling. It is just such a refreshing read. So if you have not yet read Lovesick Ellie, please do so. Now let's talk about a story that actually follows idols once again. We have the fangirl and her favorite idol, her Oshi, right here. This series is called Star-Crossed, and it's also published by Kodansha. This is a very short shoujo. It is just 3 volumes long, and this is by the creator of Kiss 'Em Not Me. So it is extremely funny as well. So in this series, we meet Asusa, who is a humongous fangirl. Her favorite idol group is called Prince for You, and her Oshi is Chika-kun. And much like Utage, Asusa is also a humongous fangirl. She loves supporting her Oshi, Chika, and she also partakes in Oshikatsu as well. You can see right here, she has like the official tote bag with some badges, so she's not as hardcore as Utage is, but she is still a big fangirl. And Chika, much like Tamon, is the popular member of Prince for You, and also much like Tamon, Chika happens to be the flirty one. And you can see how much the statement like abandon yourself to me affects Asusa. If you have read or watched Kiss Him Not Me, then you know the comedy style is very over the top, sometimes a little bit obnoxious as well. And Asusa, her fangirling is it's something else. It's something else. But I feel like she and Utage would probably get along very, very well. And she is so unapologetic about her fangirling, just like Utage. So I love them both. I love watching any type of fangirl just live her best life, and Asusa is definitely living her best life. So where this series is completely different to Tamon's B-side is the fact that this story has a little bit of a Freaky Friday reincarnation type of thing that happens. Chika is about to die, basically. All of this is gonna fall on him, and Asusa decides to rescue him. She throws herself on stage to try to rescue her Oshi. But her rescue effort failed tragically because both of them ended up dead and in heaven, and they have to strike a deal with God to basically come back to life. But once they do return to real life, they return in the wrong body. So Asusa gets reincarnated as Chika, and Chika is in Asusa's body. So you can say that they also do have a B-side, but the B-side is basically they flipped bodies. So the fangirl is now the idol, and the idol is now the fangirl. So now that you know that premise, like things get very interesting because you have the fangirl who's now in her Oshi's body, and at first she's just like, oh, I'm gonna love myself, I'm Chikaku. So it's so ridiculous. But thankfully, since Asusa is such a big fan of Chika and studies his every dance move, every single like interview, like she knows her stuff. She's able to kind of like fake it till you make it, essentially. This series may be short, much shorter than Tamon's B-side, but it is a lot of fun. It also has the same idol culture, Oshikatsu, a crazy fangirl that means well. And I feel like it wrapped up pretty well. So if you are looking for a short but fun read, I feel like Starcross would be a good one, especially if you are loving Tamon's B-side. And last but not least, we have the Otaku Vampires Love Bite. This is published by Viz Media. There are 6 volumes out so far in English. So this one, I will say, we do have some similarities to Tamon's B-side, but the plot is very different. This series does have a few similarities with Tamon's B-side, one being that we are following a humongous fangirl. Her name is Hina, but she's not just a regular girl because she is a vampire. That is the twist. She is a vampire that is in love with her Oshi, who is a fictional vampire from the fictional TV show Vampire Cross. So Hina went from being a recluse vampire to then being exposed to a vampire anime, and then becoming obsessed with said vampire anime to the point that she decides to move to Japan. Lucky for her, she can move to Japan just like that. And when she moves to Japan, she finds out that her next door neighbor happens to look exactly like her Oshi, Mao, except for the fact that is definitely not Mao. And her neighbor happens to really, really hate otakus. And he's definitely not shy to let her know his distaste of otakus. But it's okay because Hina doesn't take no for an answer, and she is determined to make him somewhat of a fan of Vampire Cross, but it doesn't really work out that way. So he ends up being dragged along to otaku things very often. So much like Utage, Hina also happens to be a humongous fangirl and someone that enjoys oshikatsu. Maybe a little too much merchandise because she just has a bunch of boxes everywhere, kind of like I do. She's also a huge fan of Ita bags. As you can see, she is rocking that repeat style Ita bag. And she also happens to be very unapologetic about being a nerdy otaku. I will also say that the comedy is similar to Tamon's B-side, not identical, but it can be a little over the top. The characters are also very expressive as well. But I do feel like a lot of the comedy comes at the expense of Amanatsu right here, our male lead that happens to look just like Hina's Oshi, because it almost becomes like a reoccurring joke that he finds himself in the middle of a bunch of vampire stuff and in the middle of a bunch of otakus. He's not kind of, he definitely is very much a tsundere. Since he is a tsundere, he also does have a soft spot for Hina, and it becomes even softer and softer as each volume progresses. Where this series is very different to Tamon's B-side is that we follow more of an ensemble cast. This is by the creator of Kamisama Kiss, Julieta Suzuki. So it's very similar to Kamisama Kiss in the way that we follow a group of characters and see how they interact with one another. So in this series, you get to see a lot of Amanatsu's friends who eventually become Hina's friends. We also meet some other Vampire Cross fans as well. So there's a lot of different dynamics that are going to be portrayed in Otaku Vampire's Love Bite. This one actually happens to be one of my favorite ones. It's so sweet. So this guy right here is a guy that's crushing on Amanatsu, who also happens to be a Vampire Cross fan. And once they meet, first there's a little bit of jealousy because he liked Amanatsu, and Hina also is crushing on Amanatsu because she thinks that he looks like Mao. And once they find out that they're both Vampire Cross fans and that they are both vampires themselves, they form such a cute friendship. The fact that Hida tells him, "You're my dear otaku friend," and you do see them do otaku things very often, is just so sweet. I love it so much. I am a sucker for just pure like platonic friendships, just like I am with like really cute romances. So I feel like I get a lot from these very cute, like friendly interactions as well. That being said, I feel like if you enjoy Tamon's B-side, you're probably going to enjoy this. It doesn't have any of the J-pop idol fan culture, but it does have the otaku culture that is, also part of Tamon's B-side, just a different side of otaku culture. You can be an anime otaku. This one is anime otaku for sure. Tamon's B-side is idol otaku. So you get different sides of otakus being portrayed in these series. How can I even fit all of these manga series? It's hard to hold them. This is so awkward. So much shoujo manga. Such a good problem to have. I'm not gonna even complain about this. I really hope I was able to help you out and that you found a new series to obsess over, especially since we're kind of stuck waiting for translations of Tamon's B-side. Volume 11 can't come soon enough. I do have the anime to keep enjoying, and so far, the anime has been such a fun watch. Like, this is probably one of the best anime adaptations I have seen in a very long time. I'm sure shoujo fans, we can agree. Yes, yes. Another thing that I really enjoy about the anime adaptation is that I can finally listen to the music from this series. I love reading about idols, but when you're reading about idols specifically, music plays such a big role, and I am not a songwriter. I'm not a musician. So it's hard for me to imagine what these songs would sound like in real life, but now I don't have to. I can just listen to Face. I do really enjoy all of the 5 series that I recommended in this video, but if I could recommend one series over all of them, I think the Otaku Love Connection. This is just such an underrated read, and I really do want other people to check it out. It is over the top, it's kind of ridiculous at times, and you do meet a lot of different people. It's not just the four that are on this cover. There's even more otakus that are going to be represented. You also have a fujoshi and Himedanshi, so someone who's obsessed with BL and a guy who's obsessed with Yuri. And you get to see so many different sides of otaku culture. So this series does expand on otaku culture in a way that Star-Crossed, Otaku Vampires Love By, and Tamon's B-side doesn't really do, because these ones just focus on one side of otaku culture. This one focuses on a lot of different sides of otaku. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Wataru grew up on watching shoujo series, so he's one of us, one of us, one of us. So it's just a lot of fun, and I do hope that with more people reading this story, that eventually, who knows, eventually we could see this animated. I know I would love to see this animated one day. It's just such a funny series. I was just about to say that I was experimenting with the different angles, and then my computer's memory just filled up. So we're down to one camera, but I did try to experiment with a different camera angle, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you want any other recommendation videos, let me know in the comments. And if you're brand new, make sure to subscribe to keep up with my content. And I think that's it. I think I've yapped enough in this video, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye bye!